Hello everyone, my name is Joshua and this is Rooftop app. Today's workshop is going to be something special. I'm sure everyone has heard of Pablo Picasso. Back when I was in school, so I was quite well known for my drawings and everyone used to go like, "Oh, you're Picasso," or "Look, we have Picasso in our class over here." But not just myself, but when I asked them like, "Have you seen any works of Picasso?" or "Do you know why he is famous?" No one had an idea. Well, I am equally to blame for that as well. So I'm here to talk about Pablo Picasso and the style of art that he has created. Now, Pablo Picasso, he was a Spanish artist who was known for being one of the most influential figures in modern art. He co-founded Cubism with another artist called Georges Braque. Now, this form of art style had completely changed the way artists had approached their work. Picasso's style had evolved over time, but if you go to see Cubism, it's not just a style, it was more of an art movement that broke away from traditional methods of painting or showing perspectives. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, when I was still in art school, we had a very structured form of learning. Now, by structure, what I mean is now if I'm sitting this way, so we look at the way the head is shaped, the size of the hand, the size of the forearm. If I want to draw the body, I'll start with a square and I'll try to get the proportions as correct as possible. But during Pablo Picasso's era, what had happened was that cameras started coming into existence, more of digital prints. So the issue was that if I created, or if the artists of that time created a painting that was realistic, it would be no different than a photograph. In order to create something new, what Pablo Picasso did along with Georges Braque was that he created this style called Cubism. Now, what do I mean by Cubism? Instead of portraying objects from one perspective, so instead of just seeing me this way now, how you see me on camera, what the style does is it shows different perspectives or different angles in one view. So if I'm staying this way, instead of drawing my eyes, nose, and mouth where it is right now, what the Cubist artists used to do was they used to put, maybe you could put an eye here, bring my nose around this side, my mouth can be much lower, this eye can be much higher, so on and so forth. So you're combining different angles, different perspectives into this one art style or this one art form. He used to use different angles at once, he used to abstract, use geometric shapes to deconstruct forms. If I want to draw this hand in a cubic manner, I can draw a very large square here with extremely long cubical or cylindrical shapes for my fingers. So that way they deconstruct, they readjust, they put different perspectives into one. This approach not only influenced the visual art but also the modern architecture and designs that we have now. In this workshop, what we're going to do is we're going to be recreating some cubic artworks in our own style. So we'll be taking inspiration from Picasso's artworks, Picasso's style, and we'll be having an amalgamation with different materials. Today, we'll be doing a collage. Instead of a drawing or a painting, we'll be having a collage. In this workshop, what we'll be using is I have 2 cups of water here for my paints to clean my brushes. I have a piece of paper to come up with the initial sketch. And then I have some paints with me of different colors. I have a cutter or a blade, some brushes to start the painting, and a glue stick, because we will need to stick all these pieces together once we're done cutting the shapes and designing our artwork. Okay, so now let's start with coming up with the sketch. Now, in Cubism, we try not to be realistic. We don't try to capture the essence of, proportions or anything along those lines. What we can do is we can start with the head. With the head, we can have like a very flat head over here. We can bring this down, something just like that. And then we can have the chin over here. Now, for those of you who are watching with me, you can see the reference in the top right corner. We can have the chin over here. We can add some shapes to the head. We can have the head just like this. Okay. Now, for the nose, normally for the nose, what people would do, or how they would do, is they would draw the nose this way with, every part of the nose being visible. But over here, we're not going to try doing that. We will keep it as, we can use straight lines over here. The nose can come, say, right from the top over there, have very pointy corners this way, and then we can take it up all the way here. Now see, the shape of the nose is very similar to how a nose would be in this area, but we're not trying to keep it a one-to-one, ditto replica of the nose. We'll try to simplify it in the most basic shapes. Then over here, what I can do is I can add an almond shape over here for the eye, and the eyebrow I can add on top. And then for this one, we can have this eyebrow over here, just like that. And for the other eye, we can bring this much lower. I can make a rectangle over here, just like this. And we can paint the eye instead for this one. We can have the eye like that over here as well. So over here we can have a heart. You can add whichever shape or form that you like, and it's not necessary for you to follow the reference that we are using. You can try to create your own cubic piece. We can have like a head over here as well, just like that. We'll try to keep it as free, and when it comes to the shapes, we can keep it to the minimal. We can just have shapes over here. We don't need to draw, the features very realistically over here also. And then for the eyelashes, what I can do is, while we have this over here, so this is one ear that will be on the bottom left part, and for the other ear, I'll take this a bit higher. Over here I can have this, and then the eyelashes, I can have it overlap the ears, something like that. And then we can have this area come here. We can have some fancy designs. It doesn't need to be hair, eyes, nose, body. It doesn't have to be that. You can add your own things to it, whichever you like. And then over here, we can draw the mouth. So the mouth, I'll take it a little higher, something like that. This will be the top lip, and then this will be the bottom lip here. We can have like a earring to this part as well. For the nostrils, I can keep one dome shaped and one rectangular shape here. So a sketch, so when Picasso started with this style, people had initially criticized him because he had this era called the Blue Period, which is basically where all of his paintings were within the colors of blue, and they were super realistic. But for him to go from realism to cubism, which is this two very basic shapes, very basic proportions, and very non-traditional, very non-structured style, people were like, or even the artists, as a matter of fact, they were like, what type of artwork is this? Why are you doing this? And some people also look at these artwork and go like, oh, it's very easy, or you know, it's not that big of a deal to create artworks like this. But the thing about such artworks, right, is that it's not about how easy or how complicated a piece is. It's about the thought process, or it's about coming up with such styles that they really get famous for. Which is why, even though he has such a simple style or such a basic way of using shapes, he has still become one of the most influential or one of the most famous artists that even people who do not or do not have an interest in art, they still know of his name. Okay, now what we can do is, so within these I can add some tiny rectangles here, just like that. So we can decorate. If you feel there's any empty space in between, you can always feel free to decorate. Okay, so I'll take my cardboard. I have different pieces, different sizes of cardboard and different thicknesses as well, and we can start developing our piece. So I will keep this over here, and I will take a piece of cardboard that I have. I have this over here. It's just from any box. It doesn't matter if you have anything written here or some colors or anything. It doesn't matter. Now what I'll do is I will use the biggest piece of cardboard, or the widest piece that I have of cardboard, and start drawing the head. So I can bring this here, take this part down. Now it doesn't have to be a 1-to-1 size as compared to your sketch. You have all the freedom in the world. You can bring this part down here, just like this, just like that. Okay. Okay, I'll just darken this part a bit. And just like that. Now when we're doing this, so please be careful while you're using your blade. We do not want any injuries while doing this workshop with us. So very carefully I will first cut this part very gently so I can get the outline, and then I can use a bit more force, and then you can just bend it. We can go to the back and cut it over here, just like that. Now this drawing that is there, I will start carving this out. We can very gently just do the outline right about there. Okay, we can flip this as well. Now try to be as gentle as possible. We do not want any injury. Now once we're done giving it a very light cut, we can start putting a little more pressure and go over it, just like that. if in case the cardboard gets cut in a different manner, if you cut inwards by mistake, that is okay as well. We'll be sticking different parts of cardboard again over it. Okay, over here I can see a little bit. Just like that. There you go. Then on the back side you can see where you have cut, and over here very gently we can go over it again. And over here at some certain angles we'll be able to see the lines. And bring this part here as well, just like that. Now we can flip this over and carefully cut this area here. You can go over it a couple of times. Try not to do this in a hurry. Just like that. And then bring this part here. And when you flip it, you can pop this part out. There you go. So now we have the shape of the head. I'll keep it this way so it's more visible. Okay. Now what we can do is we can do the nose. So for the nose, I have a shape already similar to this nose over here. So what I can do is I can just take the length that I would need, say about here on this side, and then I can cut it and go over it a couple of times, just like that. Now if you look at the nose here, it is thin at the top and then it comes wide over here. So we'll try to do just that. We'll cut this area here. We can go over it 2-3 times, and then over here we'll start very gently first so that we don't tear the cardboard. Just like that. Then we can try to bend it this way. And if there's any extra piece, you can always just cut it out. Okay. So now if you see, we have the head and we have the nose over here. So we can either cut all the shapes first and stick it onto our head, or we can stick the pieces as we start cutting them. So we can take our glue now. You can take a glue stick, or you can have the liquid glue as well, whichever is available at home. And let's make sure we add a good amount of glue so that it doesn't come out while we are trying to paint or while we're trying to stick the other pieces. I'll take this and I will stick it over here, just like that. And we can add a bit of pressure just to secure it in place. Okay, that should be good. Now we can move on to the next part. So you can decide which part do you want to do. Do you want to do the eyes next? Do you want to do this part or this eye? You can see which shape is more comfortable for you. Now, since I feel that a rectangle is much easier and much quicker to cut, I'll start with these two areas, the eyebrow and the eyes. So I'll search a piece that I have. I can use this piece itself. So we can just simply test and see whether the thickness is okay. Okay, this might be a little too thick. So what I can do is I can take this piece. I'll see how much I need in terms of length. Let's say about here. Take this and cut. Just like that. And then when it comes to the thickness, we can take half the size. So again, start with a very gentle cut. Don't try to use any pressure. There you go. Just like that. We can have this part and we can stick it over here for the eyes. Okay, so I'll take my glue stick. I think I can keep the, if you look at this piece, it's thicker over here and thinner over here. I'll keep the thicker part outside and the thinner part inside. Flip it over, apply my glue stick. And place it right about here. Now we won't apply the glue on the face, we'll apply the glue on the piece that we're trying to stick, because if we apply the glue on the face or the base that we are using, then what can happen is it will create a very sticky area which can, cause a bit of a problem when we are painting or trying to draw over it. Okay, we can just apply some pressure. That we can have a test, see whether it's coming out. Okay, seems to be stuck in place. Now we can do the eyebrow. Oh, I can do this area first. I'll put this behind, right about here. Keep it this big and let it come out until here. Just like that. Okay, now we have a curve over here. When we try to do that, so before I do that, what I will do is I will draw the curve over here first. So I'll darken this area. And we can again give it a very gentle outline. Just like that. You can go over it a couple of times. Need to be as careful as possible. So if you don't have a blade, you can try cutting it with a scissor as well. Just about that. You can flip it over. See wherever the paper is still connected. We can cut it off from there. Okay, just like that. Make sure you close your blade before keeping it aside. Okay, now I'll take this. Now if I want it, say over here, right? What I can do is I can flip this part behind. Let's see again. Somewhere about here. Okay, keep this here. I'll flip it while holding it, and then I can give it an outline with the pencil, just like that. Now since this is going to be on top of the eyebrow or the head over here, we can apply the glue onto this. I'll just apply the glue here. We can tilt the cardboard to see, where the glue is shining, so we can know where exactly we are applying the glue. Okay, and then we can take this and stick it over here, this where we need. Apply a little bit of pressure. You don't need to be too hard on it. There you go, like that. Now you can keep it flat down and just slightly press it with your hand. Okay, now we can move on to the other shapes that are there. So we'll move on to the simpler ones. So we can do this eyebrow. We can do this here next. And then we can see, once we're done with that, which part can we move on to. So for this eyebrow as well, with the same piece that I had, I can place this, say, about here. And I can choose how thick do I want it to be and until where do I want it to come. So I'll draw this over here. I'll give it a very light outline first in case we draw any lines that we do not need. Place that on top, and now I can outline it here. So before you cut, right, you want to see which part of the cardboard do you want to be facing you. So if you look at this, you can see the part inside the cardboard. So personally, I do not want that to be visible. So I'll flip this over and I will cut it from here. Now again, I'll take my cutter. So when we're doing the first few cuts, right, we can have the cutter a bit short. We don't need to elongate it entirely. So just like that, very gently. Like that. Just like this. We can extend this also. Okay. Now I'll try to develop this part as well and try to define this and go over it. And as we go over it, we can add a little bit more and more pressure to it. So that way we can get the desired cut we're looking for. Just like that. We can extend this line here, flip this over. Okay, so if you see, there's only one part where you can see the line here and a little bit over here. We can't see anything else in between. So we can go back to this and we can start cutting it in again with a little bit more pressure here, so we can get an image behind. Okay, it is slightly visible here. There you go. Bring this part down slightly and cut it open. Just like that. Now we wanted this like that. Okay. Again, close your cutter. Bring this back in frame. See where do I want it to be. You can keep it this close. Okay. And I can put the glue like right about here. Take my glue stick and start applying the glue. Just like that. And then stick it over here. We'll keep a little bit of space between these two. And if your drawing is visible, that's okay. We will be painting over it once we're done. Okay. Now we can move on to the next shapes. We can do the ear. We can see which piece do we want for the ears. And we can decide. Okay, so for the ear, I have a piece that is already sort of shaped with a curve. So if I want, I can, okay, I can cut it in within here. I'll take my pencil, keep this piece here. I can make this part a bit rectangular, and the ear will come until here. We can have the ear like this. Now again, like I said, it doesn't matter whether a cardboard is white or brown or whichever color, we'll be painting over it. Just like that. Again with a slightly little force, just like that. Now we can apply more pressure to it. Oh, gotta be careful. And this part as well. You can just pretty much start carving into the cardboard. Okay, there you go. Now see this part, if I try to tear it, this entire piece can get ruined. I'll try to cut it from here. And now I can try pulling it. I can twist it also. There you go. And then I can connect the ear. I can connect it at the, I'll connect it at the back. At the back, I think it would look better. Just like that. Take my glue stick. I'll apply some glue to the edge over here. You can tilt it and check if there is enough glue onto it with the shine we can see. And we can apply it over here. Yeah, this is a good spot. Okay, just like that. Put a slight pressure onto it, very gentle, since this is the corner, and we can leave it there. Lift it up. Okay, seems to be good. So what I like to do is whenever I create any crafts, I like to, flip it around, shake it a little bit so that I know that whatever I have put onto my artwork, I know it is stable. Okay, now we can move on to the eyes over here, the other eye. So I can check which piece do I want for the eyes. You can have your cardboard of different thicknesses. Okay, so we can make a slight change into the design as well. We don't have to stick to the reference. That's the whole point of art. It is free. There are no limitations. But we can use this as the eye itself. I can keep this part here. And I can keep it like that, about this high. So I can have the eye and the eyebrow about the same place. I'll keep this here. take my cutter. If it gets stuck like this, clean it. So from in to out. We don't want to push our finger inside, we will get cut. And then over here, okay, now we can stick this. Now we wanted it somewhere, something like this, or this also should work. We can try flipping it around actually. Let's see what type of an eye do we want. We can keep it here, or we can take it a little higher. We can experiment and see what do we like, or what do we think looks the best to our own preferences. Okay, I think we can stick with this. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll lift this up. I'll see where I want it to be. Since I'm planning on keeping the eyebrow and the eye in the same part, I'll just hold it over here and flip it. So over here I can know until where I want to put the glue. So the glue will be applied in this area. Make sure you apply enough glue because these materials can be a little heavy. So we can apply this here. Can place this just like that. Turn to the back. Okay, about that. It's okay if it's not parallel to the nose. It doesn't need to be. Just a bit of pressure. Gently remove your hand. Okay. Okay, then through this we can add the eyelashes. For the eyelashes, what we can do is we can take any thin piece that is there. I'll just cut this part out. About like this, and you can see if you like this piece, you can put it over here, or okay, we can have three pieces like this, one here and one sticking out like that. Okay, so now what I can do is I can keep this over here for measurement, and then I'll cut this part here. Like that. Now I can divide these pieces into 2 or 3. Just like that. So we can have sort of a test run. I'll keep this here. And remove this part. Okay. I'll keep this here just like that. Keep this one here. And if at all I do need another one, I can keep it like that. Okay, that also looks good. So now I will apply some glue to this. Just keep it down gently, and when you feel like you moved it at a good position, then you can apply your glue. I'll take this piece as well. Try to be as gentle as possible. Which part? Okay, over here. Put this down as well. And this final piece, I can keep it here. So even if you do make a sketch, you can always feel free to make whatever changes you feel is necessary. Yeah, we can keep this piece right here. Okay. Now we can do these two areas and then the mouth. And once we're done with that, we can start with the painting aspect of it. So I'll take, if we're doing this, we can, okay, I'll take another piece which I feel is big enough. Okay, if I want it, I'll place this below it first, and then I can I'll add this part here as well. So for this area over here, we can either paint it, or if you want, you can cut it in as well. We can make like a rainbow shaped. So you can either cut the rainbow shaped, or we can just paint it. So let me just outline this properly. Just like that. What we can do also, if it's getting difficult to cut, instead of having to pull it all the way down, we can just poke it inwards. So just poke it in a little bit, then here as well. This part needs a bit. I can cut this area. Now you can bring this part out. And here as well. So if you have any questions regarding Cubism or this style or what we do, you can drop it down in the comments and I will answer you. And you can flip it, try to cut it again. You can tear this area here. There you go. See, this could look like a little heart. Now we can add this over here and this part here as well. Make sure we keep our desk or the floor clean, because we do not want any dust coming onto our work. Okay. We'll take a glue. The bigger one will come. Over there. And then the smaller one. You can bring it here. Okay. Keep it down, and at the very edges where it is stuck, we can apply a bit of pressure. Just like that. Okay. Now we have one part remaining, which is the mouth over here. For the mouth, we can see whatever cutouts we already have. We can make him pout a little bit. I'll take this part. Cut it here. We can have that as a mouth. Okay. I'll take my glue stick. Make sure I apply a good layer to it, or a good amount of glue. You can use your finger to spread it if necessary. You can put this over here. You put a little bit of pressure. What we can do is we can flip this over as well. Put pressure over here. Make sure we don't do it too hard, or else everything else might just pop out. So we can test it and see. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Seems good. Okay, great. Okay. Now we can start with the painting. So once we're done with creating the art form that we, or the collage that we have, we can clear up a desk and keep only the paints that we need. So while I'm clearing up my desk, you can start clearing up yours as well. One good thing about clearing up your desk before starting your painting is whatever pieces that you may not need or whatever materials that you may not need, if they are lying around, it will be a bit difficult to move. So I always like to clear up my setup when I'm gonna start, something new. Make sure your cutter is closed. Keep it there. Okay. I'll bring in my palette. Just like that. Here I have my water, my brushes are there. I'm using round brushes. You can use flat brushes, round brushes, or the fan brushes as well, whichever you prefer. Okay, so we can start by painting the big areas over here. So we can start with, let's start with the primary colors. So what are our primary colors? They are red, blue, and yellow. Okay, so there's a question about how did Cubism start? So as I said, during Pablo Picasso's era, when he was still alive, there was a lot of realism painting. There was a lot of, traditional artworks, which were being carried on since much before Picasso. So the reason why Cubism started with a colleague of his, Georges Braque, was because cameras were coming into existence. So if I were to paint a picture, hyperrealism, and if I were to click a picture of you and put both together, if they both look the same, why would I, get a painting of myself when I can just get a picture? So what he wanted to do was he wanted to create something new, create something unique. And that's how Cubism started. So it's not like, oh, okay, I want to make something new, there you go, Cubism. It's not something like that. There was a lot of research, a lot of trial and error, a lot of, practice work, seeing what looks good, seeing how much can he simplify this art style, and then so on and so forth. The development of Cubism came in, which is why it was not just Picasso that started it. It was Georges Braque as well, his colleague and artist as well. It was the two of them that came together, worked on it, had discussions, had meetings, practiced around, corrected each other, and then finally we get Cubism. And that's how it came into existence. Excellent question. If anyone else has any more questions, feel free to drop it down in the comments. Okay, so now getting back to the primary colors, which are red, blue, and yellow. So if I want to paint blue anywhere, or if you look at the reference as well, we can see that there is a bit of blue over here. So we can choose the colors from the reference, or we can put our own colors as well. Now what I'll do is I will take some colors from the reference and some of my own, and we can mix it up. So that way, not only I get the freedom to paint it however I want, but you get the freedom to paint it however you want as well. I'll take my blue. Take my brush, make sure I remove whatever excess water is there. I will put it over here. I'll take a little bit more blue. Now over here I'm just going to use pure blue. pure blue, meaning I'm not going to mix any white or any red or any yellow, so on and so forth. I'm just going to use plain blue over here. Now I'll take some water. So I'll take some water and I will let it drain into this area here, and then I will mix my blue. I'll mix it just enough that it's not too thick and it's not too thin that it's very runny. So I can just do some quick tests here and see how it's turning out. And I can start by divide this area here. Bring this part down. Now you can paint the edges as well, like the sides of your work. You can paint here as well if at all you do want to. Then what that will do is it will hide the color of the cardboard that is in a way leaking from the side. If you feel that the color is not sitting flat, or you can still see the cardboard color, there are two reasons. One is that the paint you have mixed has too much water in it, and the second reason is probably, or definitely is because the cardboard is made out of paper like material, so it will absorb the paint or the water that is there, which is why you may need to add a couple of layers onto this. I'll put it over here also. So if you feel it is necessary to add a couple of layers, so when I say layers, I mean you paint it once, let it dry, and then you paint again over it until you have the desired color. So if you feel necessary, or if you feel that it is necessary, you can always paint over it in layers, or you can keep one layer as well. That gives a very unique texture to your work. Okay, and then I can take this blue and paint this area here as well. I'll try to put it in a bit. I don't want too much water because the glue might come out as well. Just like that. Okay. Now since I already have blue, I can start adding colors that we can get with blue. So with blue, what other color can I get? I can get purple or I can get green. Now, can you tell me how do I get green color? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so now if I want to create green, I will take this blue that I already have, and into that blue I will add yellow color, because yellow and blue makes green, not yellow and red. Yellow and red would make orange. So I'll add more and more yellow to this until I get the correct color, or the color that I want. Mix a bit of yellow think this green should be good enough, and I will apply this green over here. If it seems that your paint is, let me bring it in. Okay. So if it seems that your paint is, really patchy, what you can do is you can just brush it in one direction, just like that, so that these lines will not be very visible. And then I can add some green here as well. So now for this workshop, what type of paints am I using? I am using acrylic paints. If you want, you could use poster color as well, for especially if you're painting on these types of surfaces like cardboard. Depending on what type of finish you may need, I would prefer going for acrylic or poster. Because with watercolor, what happens is that the cardboard would absorb a lot of color, and watercolor is relatively light, so you need a lot of layers for it. So my recommendation would be poster colors, oil colors if you have them, or acrylics. Just like that. And again, if you feel that the paint is too patchy, we can just start brushing into one direction, just like this. Great. Now we can check if we want to add green anywhere else. Or I can darken this green with a little more blue. Now green, blue, purple, regardless of it being light or dark, these fall under cool colors. So what do I mean by cool colors? Cool colors in the sense, if you take winter for example, or if you go to see the filters that we have, if you look at a winter filter, it would be a lot more bluish, or it would be a lot more purplish or light blue. So these we call cool colors. And when it comes to an emotion, it can give sort of a relaxing kind of visual effect. So for the background or for the head, we'll be adding cool colors. And for the foreground that is something in front, background is whatever's at the back. So in the background or on the head or on the face, we will be adding cool colors. Cool colors being green, blue, purple. So green, blue and purple are cool colors. What would be considered warm? We can turn this to the side. I'll wait for a reply in the comments. What colors are considered warm? There you go, like that. I can add this color over here as well. I'll remove a bit. And add it over here. Okay. Now if you look at this piece, I put a ear over here and I didn't put another ear over here. So this is what Cubism is about different perspectives. So if you look at me right now, the way I'm looking at y'all from the front view, you can see both my ears, but as I turn my head, you can see one ear more and you cannot see the other ear because it is behind my head. So what I've done here is I've added different perspectives. It can be 2 or 3. So the eye is over here, one is at the top. So that means the head is looking up. The other eye is over here, meaning the head is looking down. The nose is to the side. That means the head is tilted to the left side. And then the mouth is tilted to the right side. So you're mixing up different perspectives and you're bringing it in together. Now what I can do is, we can move on to the next colors. I can take a bit of yellow. Over here. And I can paint a straight line here. Just like that. So like I said, we'll put cool colors in the background and warm colors in the foreground. So warm colors would be yellow, orange, red, brown, these type of colors. Just like that. We can finish this area as well. I'll take my white color and paint this part entirely white. Now if it isn't a solid white color, that is okay, because what we can use that as some sort of texture. So over here, I'll lift this up. Over here, if you see, here you have sort of a smooth gradient, but over here it's a little bit patchy. So you can use that also. You can use this to your own advantage. You can keep one side smooth, one side a little patchy. That will add a little bit of drama to it. We can add, okay, this is already white. We can add white over here. Yeah. Sometimes you never know. The cardboard itself will have the color that you want to put down there, and then it might not be necessary to paint over it. But if you feel that it's a little bit patchy or the color is not proper, then you can, of course, always go over it once again. Over here, I'll add some white, just like that. And go in one direction. Now see, there's a lot of paint on my brush. So what I'll do is I'll pick up all this paint, whatever extra paint is there, just like that. Now see, now we have this very cool dark in the middle, light on the borders, sort of like a vignette effect. Okay. You can check if this is dry. Okay, it's still a little bit wet. We can move on to the other colors until these get dry, and then we can work over it. Now in this area here at the top, I'll take a little bit of blue and I'll mix it into this white. Mix it just like that. Maybe I can take a little bit more blue. A little bit of water. And then I can paint. Okay, I think I can add a bit more blue. It's still very light. We don't need it too light, we don't need it too dark. Yeah, that seems good enough. You can fill this area here. Now you can flip it over or rotate it and fix this line just like that. Okay, so whenever we use warm and cool colors in whichever ratio it is, we would like to keep one color scheme more dominant and one color scheme a little less as compared. So now for this nose, what I'll do is I'll make a bit of a purple, light purple color. Okay, so I already have blue here. What I can do is I can try making purple with this color itself. I want it a bit light. I'll take a dot of red. We don't need too much. Very little. Because again, red is a very strong color. And I will mix it in here. There you go. So you'll get this slightly violetish purple or a lavender color, yeah. This looks like lavender. Now different colors or different, so when it comes to reds, blues, yellows, each color has a variety of you could say different shades or different tones. So when it comes to say red, we have crimson lake, we have scarlet lake, we have rose red also. Now when we mix each of these red with a type of blue, now we have cobalt blue, we have ultramarine blue, we have Prussian blue, we have different blues as well. So each color or each red, when it's mixed with a certain type of blue, you will get a different type of purple or violet, or in this case lavender. Now I'll keep 1 cup for my cool colors and 1 cup for my warm colors. And the reason for that being is so that I don't let the colors mix up, because even the water carries the pigment. I will try to keep it in over here. Let's try not touching lavender. We don't want the green to go with the lavender. Now I can take this red and I can fill the areas where I want red. You can put a bit of red over here. And then we can add a bit of red on the mouth as well. But over here, if you see, I'm not going to try painting the corners or this edge of the cardboard because it might end up putting paint on this area here. I can mix this into the yellow. Take a little bit more yellow here. I'll get orange color. So red and yellow makes orange. I can then add, you can add this over here. So this is the part where I will try balancing out the warms and the cool colors. So since we have more of cool colors in certain areas, I will add warm also to balance it out, but I will try to not make it too strong also. So when it comes to balancing the amount we use, it can be the intensity of the color. Intensity in the sense being, if you look at this red, it's just pure red. It's very strong, it's very vibrant. But if you look at this orange, it's a bit more soft, it's a bit more subtle. So we can try balancing this out. Over here, I can add a bit of black. I'll put this black here. Bring it there. You can be of different thicknesses, it's okay. I can have one thin line here, one thick line there. Now if you see, now this was a mistake. I made one thin here, one thick. I kept a bit of gap, one thin and one thick. But this mistake can lead to an inspiration. So now instead of just having to draw lines over here, I'll stick to this. I will keep one thin line here and then one thick line over here. So this will give it a sort of funky kind of look. Over there and then over here, just like that. Now for those of you who were there for yesterday's workshop, if you remember the borders we had spoken about, the Cherry style borders, what we can do is we can try filling up these flat colors with the patterns that they used. So we can mix up, it doesn't just have to be Cubism. We can mix up different styles. We can take the Cubist style of drawing and put the decorative style of the Indian Cherry art style. So before I do that, I will draw some eyes over here. This one's looking up there. You can make this part a bit bigger. And this one is also looking up. Just like that. This part as well, I can make it black. So we can try implementing what all we learned in the previous workshops, and we can try to use it here. Just like that. We can now over here in the middle, I can take a bit of white over here and take a little bit of this orange as well. Okay, so let's have a look at what just happened here. Now if you see this, I mixed white and orange, but this does not look like light orange to me. Why do you think that happened? The reason for that is the brush wasn't cleaned properly. Even though I put it in the cup and I mixed it, I tried to clean it as much as I could. There was still paint hiding within the bristles here. So I'll take my cloth here, make sure there is no color coming out when I do this. Since I'm using a warm color, I'll take the other cup, take a little bit of this white, and then take a little bit of this orange as well. Just like that. And then we can bring this part down here, just like that. Now if you see, this area is a little too thin, so what I can do is I can take a much thinner brush, make sure I remove all the water that is there, pick up this paint, and always, you can always turn your artwork. It doesn't have to be drawn from one angle only. Like that. And flip it again this way. Okay. Now with what colors we have, we can try to fill in the space over here. Now over here I can, there's a lot of water on my brush. I can take this and just wipe it out with the tissue. Okay, I can take a bit of this red, mix it into this white that I already had here. We don't want it too strong, so I'll mix it in this orange that we already had, and I can paint it here. Like that. I can take a little bit more paint again and just go over it. Like that. So now if you see, I am starting to match or balance out the warm and the cool colors. So the same color I can apply here as well. Just like that. And for this one also. I can make this one a little bigger. Just like that. Now we can start to add the final details for this collage. So if you remember, to all of you who were there for our last workshop, in the Cherry Art workshop, we checked, or we've seen different borders that were there from our Art Venture book. So what we can do is we can take those designs and we can try to use it over here. So I'll take a bit of yellow right here, and over here I can put this here, put this there. Like that. Can add that there. We can take this red. We can add some dots over here. Again with this yellow, I can take a little bit of orange, but I'll try to keep it more towards yellow. And then I can add some lines over here. So in painting, whenever we create such lines or such designs, we tend to call it a type of texture. So normally when you think of texture, you think three-dimensional, rough, smooth, soft, hard in that sense. But when it comes to painting, we think of elements of art that we implement in our works. So like lines, shape, form, color. You can use color as well to add texture. The way this part is, it's light at the corners and a little dark in the middle. So that also is a type of texture that we use. Take a bit of white. Over here. We can add the border design that we learned yesterday over here. Over there and over here. Okay, and then for this part, we can add some more dots or some lines over here. Blue, we can add this orange itself. You can make this part a little subtle. Just like that. Over here also. Okay, and then to finish it off, I'll take a bit of red. With a bit of black, and I can make one big nostril, one small nostril over here. Over here we can add some dots. So I have a question saying, have I ever painted a Gustav Klimt art? I have explored it a little bit, but it is something that I'm looking to, get into. It is quite a unique style. Okay, we can do the end part. We can do the lips. Just like that. Maybe we can add some final textures to the nose over here. And then on the other side, okay, for the last part, we will add this area here. And then we can add some dots here as well. We can try to decorate it as you like, or as much as possible. Like, for example, we can add a line here as well. Okay. So over here, let's see. Okay. I think that looks good enough. If you're interested in, adding a little more color or a color of your own, maybe some designs, then you can always feel free to do so. You can add your own color schemes. Okay. Okay, so here is the final work of our Cubism art workshop. You can see how we have stuck everything. So this is the back side for those of you who have joined late. We cut out a piece for the face, started sticking up the pieces that we decided, okay, here will be the eyes, after we created the sketch. And then we decided with the colors, we decided with the textures or the designs, and then we stuck it all into one place, and then finally we painted it. Okay. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this Cubism workshop. So our workshops happen every day at 12:30 p.m. and 5 p.m. throughout the day. And if you are looking out for more unique art workshops, or if you're looking at our art books, you can always have a look at our app, Rooftop app, or you can visit our website at Rooftop app. Thank you very much, and I will see you again.